And this is the first possession for Iowa State, and they're missing. The Jayhawks won the opening tap, and they missed. So the Big 12 showdown is underway here before a packed house and a great crowd in Ames, Iowa. Scoreless, Ellis missing, and a fine, fine rebound there by Embiid, the freshman from Cameroon, for the Jayhawks.
Well, they're going to double in the low post like they did Ellis, and that means quick ball movement will get them shots.
And Tharp, the junior from Worcester, Mass, nails the 3-ball, and that puts Kansas ahead here early.
And you watch Iowa State, Brent, it's all about the mismatch.
The wraparound is good from Niang, the sophomore also from the state of Massachusetts. So all 5 points in the early going out of Mass. It's 3-2 Jayhawks. Embiid is doubled. Selden feeds Ellis. Double again on the entry pass down low. Ellis maneuvers. This was Embiid reaching over the top. Crowd wanted a foul, didn't get it, and Embiid puts it back.
Embiid and Ellis are going to have to see and handle double teams all night. But when you double, you put your defense in a scramble situation on the weak side. Embiid with the rebound.
Misfiring, one and done. Tharp comes down on the move, and a beautiful hoop for Wiggins, a very talented freshman from Canada.
This is a young man that's slowly growing into that reputation he earned as one of the top freshmen in the country.
Offensive foul is called. So our starters here tonight, and the change is for Iowa State. Long has replaced Thomas, and Thomas being a freshman, and Coach Hoiberg wanted to settle him down a little bit, so he'll start him on the bench. He'll see a lot of time, though.
See Bill Self mixing his offenses. They went high-low early. Now they're in their pick-and-roll game.
Ellis in the paint with the left hand. He's brilliant with that left hand and always has been.
Barry Ellis, a very understated personality, but starting to really come into his own as a sophomore.
Kane puts it on the deck, gets down in low, comes up and one. He'll come to the free throw line. That's a big-time hoop for the transfer from Marshall.
Think about what he's done, Brent. Here, watch him on the drive now. See if you see any ill effects with the ankle, but at 6'6", he's strong, powerful, can play both inside and out. Think about having a point guard that's averaging 7 rebounds and 6 assists a game to go along with those points.
Now, what an addition to this team, and he's able to play right away because he graduated, although we'd love to have that air ball back at the free throw line, but he graduated from Marshall. I think he's always a degree in economics and doing postgraduate work here at Ames, and of course under the NCAA rules that allows him to play right away.
And what better place to come, transfer U, where Fred Hoiberg has made his mark with those type of players.
This is Selden, one of the 3 freshmen, kicking it back on the outside. Embiid backs in, comes up, not there. An offensive rebound. This plagued the Cyclones against Oklahoma in their lone loss. There were 22 offensive rebounds by the Sooners, and they come back with a steal. Edgem from the outside, missing badly, and it's an early lead here for Kansas, 9-4.
The double teams in the post have opened up those opportunities to rebound. How about that bank shot?
I think if you say bank shot to a Kansas Jayhawk fan, that was Wiggins, by the way, you think of McLemore in Lawrence last year when he beat Iowa State on that bank shot. They turn it over. Again, this is a sloppy start for Iowa State. Hoiberg's going to have to settle him down. Tharp on a run in, and here comes Fred Hoiberg moving out toward the free throw line. This is not what Iowa State wanted here tonight, because it'll quiet the crowd. Jayhawks storm to a 13-4 lead. Welcome to Big Monday, presented by Verizon. And ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic. Season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. And this is certainly one of them. I'm Brent Musburger. I'm with Fran Fraschilla. I got that right tonight.
Yes.
Now, what about the Kansas Jayhawks in this start, Frank?
You know, Brent, they're the 15th ranked team in the country, but that's really a joke because they played the toughest schedule with a very young team. And we've just seen over the last couple games some opportunities where this looks like a team that's going to be Final Four material. Coming in here with a quick start, very impressive early.
Yeah, indeed. And Fran, they're 6 of 10 from the field. They've had 6 rebounds to only 1 rebound for Iowa State. And of course, that is the stat that perhaps cost them the game against the Sooners. Lon Kruger did such a good job of taking advantage of the smaller men down low on the block.
Very much so, handing the Cyclones their only loss of the season.
Rims in and out, and let's see if Iowa State can get some offense after that timeout.
Look at the versatility of this offense now. Niang with the ball. He's their center, handling to bring it up.
And now Niang goes in low, comes out with the left hand. Wiggins snaps it down. There are a whole bunch of NBA scouts here tonight, and number 22 is just one of many players, Fran, that they're taking a long look at.
There's no doubt about that, Brent. I saw about 15 personally that I know that are here.
Ellis misses the jump, but that long arm reach, and the foul is going to go against Iowa State.
Kansas is hammering Iowa State on the weak side glass. So every time a shot goes up, they're doing a terrific job of blocking out. Now watch the jump hook, and then you see the action inside. Good job by Andrew Wiggins, who's a pogo stick to keep that ball alive.
I want to point out that number 14, Green, another freshman, has checked in for Kansas. Coach Self telling us he wanted to get him more minutes, and they won't give minutes as long as Wiggins knocks down shots like that.
And remember Embiid, who got tangled up there, he was ejected on Saturday for throwing for a flagrant 2 foul in the Kansas State game.
Yeah, that little bip bop after he got stopped in the lane. The bip was okay, but the bop got him knocked out. You can't do the bop. The bip's okay.
Yeah.
But not the bop.
Bip would have been a flagrant 1.
Now this is tonight. Oh, he threw him down with the right arm. The officials are going over to the table on that. Let's take you back now to Saturday. Fran, you were there, so you pick it up here against Kansas State.
Well, there was a little action in the lane between Nino Williams, and then you see that left forearm come up. He sized him up, and that's an easy flagrant 2. He was ejected late in the game, had to leave the court. And then tonight, this is a good kid now, but you got to keep your emotions in check.
Sort of flung him aside. Again, if you just joined it, Joe DeRosa, veteran official, worked any number of years in the NBA with Tom Eads and Gary Maxwell. This is a veteran crew. Now take a look at Embiid. Muscling through and then using the right arm after Wiggins nailed the field goal from the outside.
My sense is he got tangled up. You know, he's pulling his hand almost like his hand was caught in a jersey. See, he's tripping. Take a look now. And watch his hand.
So DeRosa's down explaining it to Coach Hoiberg. And at the other end, Tom Eads. And he's telling Coach Self what he decided.
It's going to be a flagrant 1.
And so moving up to the free throw line is Niang. And of course, the problem this becomes for a youngster like Embiid with his size, he becomes a target. People talk about this and they look for things.
Now I think this might be a dead ball contact technical. Because that anybody could shoot it, but was it Niang?
Dead ball contact technical.
That's what it was.
And Joe DeRosa just over to explain that.
And that means that anybody, because the ball is dead, it means anybody can shoot the free throws.
So, Holly, we're taking one more look at this, and what are you hearing over on the bench?
Well, Bill Self of Kansas just chewed out Joel Embiid pretty good. After those free throws were made, he turned to him and said, you just cost us 2 points. You've got to be smarter than that. You've got to be more focused than that. He is saying your emotions are getting too much right now.
And now the Cyclones are coming back to the free throw line on that play with Kane going in under and Green. And again, to go back to the story on Green, because we sort of lost focus. Coach Self wants to get him more minutes. He's very talented, and they just haven't been able to find him.
Very much so. Big-time scorer out of the state of Georgia. Ironically, his dad played his college basketball at Pittsburgh State in Kansas, the Gorillas. And but he is a very talented offensive player.
I thought they were going to be moving the free throw line for him, but apparently it was a non-shooting foul underneath, and it will be Iowa State ball on the drive, and now drawing the foul is Hogue. There's a junior from Yonkers, transfer from the JC. He's been a very pleasant addition for Coach Hoiberg.
Yeah, yes, he has. Tremendous rebounder. In fact, you remember a year ago, Melvin Edgman, 6'6", led the league in rebounding. This year, this young man does. And talk about toughness. His older brother played in the NFL for a few years with the Carolina Panthers. So he plays with toughness on the basketball court.
Trailer. Big body sophomore out of Chicago now. We'll see some playing time, and Self might leave Embiid on that bench while, and it's too bad for Kansas, because I thought Embiid was very active down here offensively.
Very much so. Now the great thing about Kansas's bench this year up front, think about it. Tarek Black, Jamari Traylor, Landon Lucas. So that's their spot with their most depth.
15-8. Knocked away. Here comes Kane trying to control it. Loose ball, diving for it. The Jayhawks out of bounds. Iowa State basketball.
You want to know what makes this play special, Brent? This crowd gets louder when the Cyclones are behind. And you saw that as they brought the ball up the floor to Jayhawks. They sense the moment here.
So they're not a front-running crowd, Fred? They will shoot the three. The bigs will step out. Those of you who follow the Big 12 well aware of that with Hoiberg's teams.
Oh, nice pass.
And Edgem couldn't finish. Did everything but finish.
Well, that was a great pass by Neon, who I think is their best passer.
Tharp, the quarterback for the Jayhawks. This is Green handling the ball. Wiggins. Traylor. Quickly moving it back over to Wiggins on the dribble. And it will be Kansas basketball.
Well, Bill Self's got to like the aggressiveness of Andrew Wiggins, who sometimes is so unselfish he actually hurts the team, but he's been engaged tonight offensively.
He's got a great future as a small forward. Wonderful first step.
And an excellent defender, Brent, which I think is going to hang his hat on.
Deep three, knocks it down. He shot for about 20 minutes today at the Jayhawk shoot-around from that spot and at the top of the key, practicing 1-3 after another. He has 9 points here in the early going of this game. And Edgem, big hoop for the Cyclones.
Now, Edgem is what I call a player forward. He can score both inside and out. He's a difficult matchup. Even at 6'6", he can score inside.
They continue to double the big men down low, and Traylor comes right around the horn and uses the left hand. So let me check, because that was Black who had checked in that you mentioned, who did that. So let me correct myself. So we need to take another look, because you mentioned that the two big fellows can come in off that bench, and that gives them some great size and minutes. Wiggins missing this time. Kane. Green yanks it away. Looks like he's very athletic in taking our first look up closer at Green.
I had a chance to run a little bit, but Bill Self's going to go to a little pick and roll game.
Travel. That was more roll than pick.
Yes. Little anxious. But take a look at that Black basket a couple plays ago, Brent. You know, the double team came That time he dribbled away from the double team, created the one-on-one, and then went back to the rim. Nice job by the transfer from Memphis. Very similar to Kane, 50-year graduate student. Started a lot of games for the Tigers.
Jayhawks have built a 10-point lead. And laying it up and in is Hogue.
Right now, if you're Iowa State, you need 2 stops and 2 scores for this building to explode.
Coming again, not that time. Rebound for the Cyclones. Kane puts it on the deck and goes the distance for the field goal.
That's more strength and speed right there. Used his body well.
Pulls him back to within 6 after being down by 10. We would have a good seat except for the guys standing up in front of us.
Everybody's standing in here. How about this, Brent? Vic Miller, the trainer. He did his work the last 48 hours. DeAndre Kane, all is well in Ames.
Niang steps out. Yes! Johnson makes it a 1-point game. Niang is on the floor, and a foul has been called. Elijah, are you kidding me? 37 points, Elijah. Jayhawks are going to head home with an overtime win. Well, let's take a look at tonight's Sonic Showdown. That was some showdown a year ago. But as you can see, all time, the Jayhawks have dominated the Cyclones, and they have won 16 of the last 17. But how about Fred Hoiberg as a player? 4 of 5 against them.
Pretty good.
Maybe he should suit up.
You know, Danny Manning, the great Danny Manning, never won in this building. Larry Brown never won in this building in his 5 years as coach of the Jayhawks. And I know we'll talk about him, Brent, but in large part because of the great Johnny Orr and the job he did here.
Absolutely. So Mason checks in as the guard. He just inbounded the ball. Wiggins stays on the floor, and why not? So is Black, and this is Wiggins handling the ball. They kick it back, and Mason's first shot is a 3. Rebound for the Cyclones, and Kane is an outstanding rebounder as well as a guard. Very impressed with how he moves. Edgeham misses from the outside. They can't knock down the 3-ball. They are now 0 for 5 here tonight, shooting 3s. Unusual for a Hoiberg team.
Now there's those double teams. Kansas starting to get very sloppy with their passing.
And I believe Black was called for the foul that time, so it will be Iowa State basketball. Kane, somebody to go to the backcourt. So, Holly, what was it like with the Iowa State huddle?
Well, Fred Hoiberg of Iowa State is always very calm in the huddle, but the point that he made is they've got to do a better job in their double teams of the post. On that last possession, you saw those 2 guards collapse quickly, double team on the low post, forced a turnover. That's exactly what he was talking to them about in that last huddle. Yeah,
and also, Holly, he sent his freshman Thomas is now on the floor. He's number 21, folks, for those of you who haven't seen it. What a great field goal for Hogue. He's a junior from Yonkers, and as Fran told you, transferred in.
He fits in, and Brandy fits into that mismatch type offense they have. 6 guys are all 6'6" that play a lot of minutes.
Selden off the dribble. Thomas was on him. Good defense. Thomas had the ball. The lead pass. Alley-oop. Kane finishes.
How's that ankle?
Well, a reminder that a pair of ranked teams face stern road tests on ESPN tomorrow night. First at 7, undefeated Wisconsin will take on Indiana. What a job the Badgers have done. And then at 9, let's go down to the SEC. Let's watch Kentucky head to Fayetteville, face Arkansas. Friends, Arkansas will be trying to start another home court winning streak.
Well, they are. Yep, Florida went in there Saturday. Look at Mike Anderson's team, had to play back-to-back. Florida, Kentucky. can't lose another home game.
Very interesting here, Fran, that Kansas has 10 second chance points. Just like Oklahoma dominated Iowa State, that same number is building up here tonight against the Cyclones. They're going to have to do something about that.
And they've got to do a better job, Kansas, of handling the double team. It's like a blitz in football. You're a quarterback. You got to find the open man.
Start on the deck, loses the handle, and a foul is called. It looks like that foul is on Morris, the freshman from Flint, Michigan's Beecher High School.
There was a 2-game stretch when Bill Self benched Nadir Tharp versus Colorado and Florida. It was a minor off-the-court issue, Brent, and he crushed him so hard in practice that Bill Self said, I killed the young man's confidence. He doubted whether I liked him. Well, that all changed versus New Mexico, and he is the key to the season. He's the only pure point guard that they have.
You know, there were times last year when you and I commented we thought he was their best point guard when he came off that bench.
Exactly. Now, Frank Mason is a terrific third down back, punt returner top guy, but this is the leader of the team.
Knocks down the free throws. So DeAndre Kane, 2 of 3 from the field. He has been the ringleader here for Iowa State. Kansas leads them by 4. The Jayhawks once were up by 11 if you're just joining us. Oh, great hustle by Hogue. Saves it. Couldn't drain that 3 again.
That's another hustle play by Hogue. And when you have 4 or 5 guys out there all in that 6'6" range, it causes problems for bigger players.
Here's Kane off iron. Jayhawks basketball.
This whole first half, Kansas has gone inside.
Wiggins back on the floor. Here is Selden gunning the 3 ball. Wiggins with a great offensive rebound, but threw it away. And Kane will bring it to the attack. The 3 ball, no, and air ball. Really struggling from outside the perimeter. Unusual. They are 0 of 8 now on the 3 ball.
A little too much adrenaline by the freshman Morris.
Ellis, outside shot. And into Kane's hands again. Good looking rebounder for a guard. This is Morris, who Fran referred to. Niang on the deck. Attacks left hand, and he's on the free throw line.
If you look in the dictionary, Brent, under the word crafty, you'll see a picture of Niang.
Agreed.
He plays the game almost at a snail's pace. It's almost like hitting a knuckleball. He plays so slow that he throws the defender off. He was a high school teammate of Wayne Selden Jr. at Tilton Academy. Along with Nerlens Noel. How about this? He scored 2,300 points in high school.
How many?
2,300.
Wow.
And he really didn't get a lot of big-time attention because people who at the high major level, those top programs, didn't think that he was athletic enough.
Right. So Edgem checks in, but the bigger story is the fact that Embiid has returned for Kansas. So after his technical foul for throwing an Iowa State player down, number 21 if you want to watch him. It looks to me like athletic. Remember, this young man was a volleyball player just a few years ago, but he seems to have a great upside.
Another hustle play, chance at a second chance basket.
Tharp nails it, just as you said. They're just dominating him with that second chance points off those offensive rebounds. Back up 6, once up 11. Edgem on the floor. Niang will put it on the deck and attack, go to the left hand. Here's Tharp. And the main man, Wiggins. He doesn't force the issue.
You're exactly right. Very unselfish. There's that double team again.
So Tharp fakes the shot on the deck this time. And now it'll be Selden and he knocks down the three, and that could help his confidence. His first points of the night. He's a freshman from Roxbury, Mass. And good-looking freshman. He was a freshman of the week around the country. I think Athlon, among others, and of course the conference crowning that. Edgem steps out and hits the first three ball of the night for Iowa State.
Well, they make 9 a game, and they're not going to stop shooting them because that's who they are. But that's the problem Edgem poses. Ellis has got to catch it and look to the middle of the floor.
Comes back with the right hand, misfiring. Another three, not this time. Back-to-back threes would have brought this crowd alive for sure, as Thomas misses that one.
Now, Thomas is an outstanding young player who's just struggling with his shot right now.
Ellis backing in, kicks back Tharp. Tharp's long three is perfect. And they build that lead back to 8.
Tharp's a little bit better shooter than people realize. He may be their most consistent outside shooter, Brent, and along with being a great floor general.
Misfiring from the corner on the three. That was Long who took that shot. He drew a start tonight for the Cyclones. Turned it over. Tharp turned the ball over. And so we'll take a break with the Jayhawks up by 8. 5:44 remaining first half. Kansas 30, Iowa State 22. When good things happen here, it's Hilton Magic. That's what it's been named ever since the early 80s. Barry Stevens played for the Cyclones. They were matched against a very good Missouri team. Mizzou was ranked number 10. They came down 1983 under head coach Johnny Orr. He made it, Barry Stevens did, and Johnny Orr is the all-time wins leader. And he would come out, and when he walked out onto the floor, he would fire this crowd up. And here was his last appearance early in November. And what a touching, moving moment for someone who was a great friend of many of us. Johnny Orr passing away recently at the age of 86. But one last time, the great Johnny Orr firing up the crowd, Frank.
No question. He left the University of Michigan to start the program here, or at least restart it, I should say. And we talked to Fred Hoiberg yesterday, Brent, and you know how he feels about his mentor.
Yeah, he was one of the great gentlemen and a great storyteller, I might add.
Great stories. Some of which you can't tell on the air, but
a night with a few cold ones. Johnny Orr would be one of my first-round draft choices. Holly, I wish you had a chance to cover Johnny a little bit more.
Well, you know, listening to Fred Hoiberg, he said that walking out of that tunnel with Coach Orr earlier this season was the most special moment I've ever had. He said Johnny leaned over to him and said, "I'm 86, Fred, but I got dressed up for you." And he said that was a special moment he'll never forget.
Yeah. So here we go. Iowa State trailing the Jayhawks, who've led all the way, and looks like they're going to pick up the young guard, Frank Mason, for a little bodily contact there, riding the ball carrier as he came up. Didn't look like it was
not much
flagrant to me, huh?
He's a bulldog, Frank Mason. I think what Bill's upset with is it's an opportunity for Iowa State to walk to the line and make him, and he's trying to get an explanation right now.
It's important now because this is 1-1, and Iowa State 5 of 7 at the free throw line. They can pick up something here, and they do. So DeAndre Kane, again, the leading scorer, despite that sprained ankle. He has 7 points on the night, back on the free throw line. Knocked them both down. He got a smooth shot.
Yeah.
He does a lot of things well.
I think you could make the case this early in the season that if you voted for player of the year right now, today, it might be DeAndre King. There's a lot of basketball left in this league, obviously.
He certainly would be on the early version of the all Big 12 team.
Yes, sir.
No question about that. Wiggins attacking, and he was fouled.
I'm so glad you sent that, Brent, because one of the things that Andrew Wiggins has to do is attack the basket. He has a tendency to bail out physically. Looks like they got that one on the floor, not in the act.
5:20 remaining here. stepped out of bounds.
Well, they tried to get the shot for this young man, Frankamp, who was a prolific scorer in high school.
I've done it.
But
he shoots threes like you did.
I don't know about that. A little bit better. You can see the confidence Bill Self had in him as they went right to him with the set play.
Now toward that 5-minute mark. Iowa State trying to finish with a burst here late in the first half. Carry it over into the second end. Jayhawks trying to stop that right now. And low for the field goal. And nice shot by Niang.
That's excellent coaching. They isolated Kane on the wing against Traylor, and that was a mismatch.
There's Frankamp's three, and nothing doing. Iowa State could cut this down to 2 or 1 here. Niang on the drive and was looking to get on the free throw line and did not do it that time.
Look, take a look at this last play. Look, Brent, look how they isolate Kane on the side and allow him to drive Traylor, and then that opens it up at the rim for Niang. That's what we mean when we talk about the NBA style of coaching. Fred Hoiberg exploiting mismatches.
Yeah, at the professional level in every sport, and they go for the mismatch right now.
Yep.
Outside, Niang missing, and Wiggins with a good defensive rebound. Sullivan's cut off, gives it back to Wiggins. Here he is again, just a little short on that drive to the hoop. Another opportunity here on the inside, and dropping it in was Morris.
Young man was Mr. Basketball last year. Played at the same high school as a guy you remember, Roy Marble.
Absolutely. Tharp steps away, a 2. That's a 2. He was on the line, but it gives the Jayhawks a 4-point lead, and that's 14 points tonight for Tharp. He's perfect from the field. Edgem in low, stays with it. Didn't get the bounce. Loose ball. Jayhawks come away with it.
Well, you got him.
Tharp kicks it inside. Embiid sends it back outside. Crowd wanted traveling, and they got it.
Embiid would have been better off just shooting that 10-footer.
So we'll take a break. Jayhawks have dominated, but the Cyclones are hanging tough.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Verizon. Holiday savings on the gifts everyone wants. And in part by Toyota. Let's go places. And TD Ameritrade.
The coach here in studio coming on the Mazda halftime report. Oh, a crazy finish down in Cameron. Duke hanging on late. We'll show you how they got it done. Number 2, Syracuse over on the U, and Taiwan and Boston College are at the half. We'll get the updates on that also. Seth Greenberg, Jay Will hash it out on Wisconsin. Legit Final Four team. We'll see you at the half, guys.
And here it's a 4-point lead for the Jayhawks, 32-28. And when you look at the numbers, you're surprised that it's only 4. For example, Iowa State only 1 of 12 from threes. But take a look at Wiggins. Tied his career high already with 11 rebounds. And Kansas has out-rebounded Iowa State 23-13 here, Fran. That's a big number.
Well, and I like what Wiggins has done, Brent. He's been engaged on both ends of the floor. And you see the hustle. Tell you, last Wednesday, before that Oklahoma game, Bill Self showed his team a clip of Aaron Craft diving on the floor, and he said, we're not going to be as good as we need to be until we play this way. Selden had a big steal in that game, and you see more Jayhawks getting after loose balls now than at any time all year. It's a pretty good guy.
Talent.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to play the game at this level, and the only thing that I can see that they lack is experience coming through things like this. These are tough situations they are facing.
I think they'll grow up in games like this down the stretch. Played a very difficult schedule.
So watching again, Embiid, the freshman. But Iowa State can take heart. They certainly have not lost contact. Once down by 11. And that was at the 15-15 mark. Iowa State has never been tied or ahead in this game.
I'll tell you something interesting, Brent. 8 different times this year, Iowa State's come back from 7 or more. They trailed Northern Iowa in one game by about 18 with 12 minutes to go.
So Ellis is coming back into the game. He's one of the Jayhawks who struggled a bit for the field tonight. He's only 1 of 6. And Black will take a seat because that's his 3rd personal foul. So Kane back on the free throw line with the 8 points. He's the leader for the Cyclones.
You know, Black this year, Brent, has more fouls than rebounds. That's not something that you
no,
you don't want to say that, but it's a fact.
Kane missing that time. Wiggins, now he does have a career high.
Yeah, how about that?
That's 12 rebounds for the freshman right there. Ellis aggressively coming out on top. And here's Tharp. He's 5 of 5 for the night. Wiggins looking for help, steps back, guns it, in and out. Battle for the ball. Jayhawks have got it. Stolen by Edgem. Edgem's got Morris ahead of him, and he gives it to him in the corner. Inside, open. Saw him at the last moment, and Hogue puts it away. Little bit of a defensive breakdown, and the Cyclones are within 1 here in the first half.
Feels like they should be down 15.
Wiggins wants to attack. In the paint, knocked away. Looking for the foul, didn't get it. Kane head pass on the runners. Good. There's their first lead of the night.
Well, they've gotten some easy baskets the last 2 times up the floor. The steal, the kick out, and then watch Hogue get behind trailer. Good dime there by the freshman, Morris. And then this last basket right here, they wanted a foul, Bill Self did on that drive. But then they're so mobile, and their little step around by freshman Morris is giving them really good minutes tonight off the bench.
Fred Hoiberg, hometown boy, Ames, Iowa. Was a great player here, went to the NBA for 10 years, come back and has restored the franchise here, and Hoiberg is known around town as the mayor. And indeed, he's probably the most popular figure that this city has ever known.
It's hard to come back as the favorite son, but he has done it quite well. Coaching's a stressful profession.
Embiid flushes. And that gives that lead back in a hurry.
Yep, good look inside by Selden. Well, I'll tell you, watching Niang and Ellis go at it earlier, those 2 guys are going to battle for 2.5 more years.
Edgem backs in. Kicks back out to the corner. Morris has been very active tonight. Oh, block by Embiid. That's a great block. He is going to be a wonderful shot blocker. And Wiggins on the run out at the other end. And just like that, Jayhawks go up 3, 11 points and a dozen rebounds. Career high in rebounding for the cover boy freshman.
Tell you this, Brent, this is the most aggressive I've seen him in some time. He's had some big games, 26 at Florida. But his ability to affect the game on both ends tonight has been outstanding.
So, Ollie, let me get this straight. My friend Fred Hoiberg is not the real mayor of Ames, Iowa?
Well, you would think so. In fact, his Twitter handle actually says ISU mayor, but I did check on the phone today with the actual mayor of Ames, Iowa. It is a lovely lady named Ann Campbell. She's here in the crowd, and I said, how do you feel about him being called the mayor? She said, well, we have been neighbors and friends for a very long time. I've known Fred Hoiberg since he was in elementary school. He's a contemporary of her sons. She said it's all in good fun. We've had a wonderful time, and she's proud that he is also the mayor of Ames.
She's a very intelligent mayor. Because after Holly interviewed her, Holly said, are you coming to the game, Mayor? She said, I don't have a ticket. So Holly took care of that.
How about that?
Good assist. Oh, come on, Mayor. No yawning. It's much too close for that. Off the dribble. Edgem couldn't put it there. Loose ball. Here comes Tharp. Diving for the loose ball out of bounds. It'll be Jayhawk basketball up 3. 44 seconds. You know, one of the things, the way they regained the lead, Fran, and you could beat this to death, but this is a very talented Jayhawk basketball team.
They really are, Brent. And again, you know, they played the toughest schedule in college basketball by far. They've got 4 losses, but what we've seen over the last 3 games in the Big 12 is a team that's got a chance to be a Final Four type team with some more experience.
On those losses, 3 of those teams today, folks, are ranked in the top 10. Villanova, Florida, and San Diego State weighing in at number 10. And Colorado's 21. They've turned it over on this play. So all 4 of those teams that they lost to are ranked, but I'm very impressed by 3 of them are in the top 10. Anybody else play a schedule like that?
Well, don't forget they play they play teams like Georgetown, New Mexico as
Michigan.
well. Yep, Michigan as well. Well, they beat Duke early in the year. Actually, Iowa State beat Michigan in here. First time Dickie V ever did a game in here.
What are we working on? Last year down to Kansas City, was that during the regular season? Was that the 9th consecutive sharing or winning the Big 12 title?
Yes.
Right?
And Bill Self now has 9 home losses and 9 titles.
Unbelievable. Last few seconds. Got to work against the clock. It's down to 3. Kane wants it. Yes! Oh, what a big hoop. Oh, mercy. Sprained ankle? What sprained ankle? And to halftime we go. Let's go to Holly with my mayor.
Well, Coach, before that shot, you were 1 for 12 from the three-point line, and I was going to ask what kind of balance do you want to have in your shot selection, but how do you react to how DeAndre's playing?
Well, he's a warrior. I knew he'd give it a shot if he could have any type of play out here, and he's been really good. He's come out here. He's the one that's keeping us in the game right now. We have to do a much better job on the boards. We have not done a good enough job. I think they're out rebounding us by 10 right now. If we do rebound the ball, you see how good we're in transition, but it starts with a stop and a rebound. We're just not very good right now taking the ball out of the net.
Thank you.
Deadlocked at 36. And remember, this Iowa State team has struggled mightily shooting the 3-ball here tonight. They missed their first dozen, and now DeAndre Kane knocks it down. And the mayor of Ames, Iowa, loved it. Now let's go to Jonathan Coachman, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams, the Mazda halftime report. Take it away, Jonathan. Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Verizon and ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic and Dandy here. The spotlight is on games that are going to impact the tournament, and this one certainly will. 2 teams headed for madness, tied at 36 as we get ready to start the second half. Take a look at some of the important offensive numbers up here. And the youngster, Andrew Wiggins, if you're just joining us, the phenom, 11 points and a career-high 12 rebounds. Kansas, a +14 rebound margin. At the other end, DeAndre Kane, keeping the Cyclones in the game with a dozen, including that tying field goal,
Big.
Fran, at the end of the first half.
Very big, and it felt like, Brent, that Kansas should be up more, and Iowa State stayed in this game. And it's been a tale of some big numbers because Kansas has dominated the offensive glass, gotten a lot of second-chance points. But when they didn't dominate the glass, guess what? Iowa State got out in transition. And here's why. Watch this when the shot goes up. Look at all the gray jerseys in the lane. So it's feast or famine. 4 guys below that foul line. That allowed Iowa State to get out and run, and they dominated the transition points 18-4. Take another look. Kansas has got to do a better job of rebounding the ball on the offensive end, because if you're going to send 4, you got nobody back.
There is one negative stat on Kansas that we should alert everybody to, as Ellis misses again. He struggled from the floor. That's the fact that they've turned it over a dozen times in this game. That's their negative stat. And points off turnovers. And there's a 3-ball by the Jayhawks to start the second half. Tharp has had a great night shooting, but Iowa State, Fran, has 18 points off those turnovers.
Absolutely. That last play, you saw Joel Embiid, the freshman, really handled the double team well, got rid of it quickly.
Edge him on the drive, won't stay down, get it back, blocked. Oh, what a great block by Embiid.
He's getting better.
That's his third block shot of the night.
Yep. Brent, he's so much better defensively than he was early.
Embiid reversing underneath, puts it away. So block at one end.
Yep.
Field goal at the other, hustling down the floor. Tremendous upside for the 7-footer.
He's a special player. He's got outstanding footwork, and you saw a piece of the footwork right there.
On the deck, won't stay down. One and done. On a run in, there's Wiggins. So tied at 36 at the intermission, and the Jayhawks explode for a quick 7.
January is now Janu-Any at Subway.
It's my favorite time of year.
And any regular footlong is now a $5 footlong. Even our super stacked subs like the Italian BMT. $5 footlong. Janu-Any. Subway. Eat fresh.
So the Jayhawks with an explosion. Joel Embiid kind of turned things around.
Absolutely. And this is where he's starting to improve on the defensive end. The block shots, and then on the other end, Brent, terrific footwork. He's so graceful right now. Still getting better. A lot of ways to improve. But you're seeing some impact by Embiid early in the second half.
Came to basketball late out of Cameroon. Was an outstanding volleyball player. He's got the hops. Kane misses. Hogue underneath for the Cyclones. Puts it back up and misses. Jayhawks basketball, and they got numbers. Tharp kicks corner, and they get it back. Traveling. Cyclone basketball.
One of the things that's impressed me tonight about Kansas, Brent, is just how unselfish they play. They move the ball really well. Nobody plays with Velcro on their hands.
And my first in-person look at Wiggins, he's as smooth as it gets for a freshman. Doesn't force the issue. Can shoot outside. As you said, trying to learn how to attack. There's a block. That's his 4th block of the game. Niang goes in, missing. And a good run here. That is a 45-36. Iowa State scoreless in the second half so far.
Embiid hit his head. Tell you, Joel Embiid has as many blocked shots tonight.
I think it was his elbow, isn't it, that he's
He's
grabbing
holding that. Yep.
Fran?
Take a look right here.
I thought it was his elbow. Take a look here.
You know, I'm not sure that he's not allowed to go straight up right there. I have a problem with some of those plays where the offensive player throws himself into the defense.
Yeah, and as he comes down, look at how he tries to support himself. There's no question.
Yeah,
Hammered it.
And I don't think that was a foul, Brent, but to my point, how about this? He's got more blocks tonight than Jeff Withey had last year against the Cyclones in 3 games. Well, he's got as many, 4.
Well, Withey was a great player for them, but this youngster is much more athletic, as you pointed out. I don't think there's any question about that. Tap back is good. So finally on the board, Niang.
Niang is the reason Withey didn't get many blocks last year, because he brought Withey away from the paint.
And he could knock down the 3 against Withey.
Yep.
Niang can recover and get back down quicker. offense.
Well, Embiid is having a bad luck night. That time he extended the arm. Niang took the fall. Let's take a look. Watch the discard now. See if we can get a piece of it. Man, there's not much there. There's not much there.
But you're big and you got a reputation,
that's right.
and that's number 3, and that's the plight of the big man. Has been that way ever since Wilt Chamberlain was playing. You just have to try to deal with it. It's not easy, believe me. Shouldn't be penalized if you're big.
I agree with you completely.
So off iron, and now the Jayhawks come back down. Here's Wiggins. That time. Cyclones are the kind of team, they won't go away. Just like the junkyard dogs of old, they just hang in and hang in.
And that three-point shot gets them back in games quickly, too.
Niang will kick it back out, but they don't have an open look there. Now he gets a nice pass inside man. And on the free throw line is Ho.
Well, you saw the really nifty pass by Niang. They run their offense, Iowa State, as much through him as they do Kane. But a good cut right here. Watch Niang. He plays off the lane. There's the pass, and then the second pass.
That's his 4th foul.
Now he'll get his money's worth.
Well, Thursday Night Showcase has a couple of good matchups this week. 7 on ESPN. UConn will take on Memphis. Memphis now ranked number 17. The Buckeyes of Ohio State suddenly reeling. They'll play Minnesota. And that's the second one, and that's the Thursday Night Showcase.
If you're a Cyclone fan, as much as it pains you to root for the Hawkeyes, that win yesterday over the Buckeyes helps the Cyclones' RPI. Cyclones beat the Hawkeyes in here back in the early part of the year.
And you were a spectator.
I was a spectator. I got in for free, by the way.
Wiggins off the dribble. Wouldn't stay down, but if Ellis was there underneath, and I believe a foul has been called. Yes, it has.
Yeah, Brent, this is the most aggressive I've seen Andrew Wiggins attack the basket this year. He has a tendency to bail out on contact, but not tonight. He's been very forceful to the rim and utilizing that athletic ability.
I'm not sure I saw that he was fouled on that play.
I think we're in a stage of the game that the officials want to grab a hold, and I think you're going to see a lot of whistles here at least the next couple minutes. This is a young man that has, it's amazing, Brent, how good Toronto and Canadian basketball has become. Even tonight with Edgem and this guy, Naz Long. He's the face of Canadian basketball over the next decade.
Proving, of course, that not everybody plays hockey.
Well, you know, Toronto's the 5th largest metropolis in North America, and they're starting to put out a lot of good players.
Continuing to struggle with the three-point shot. And that really is keeping Iowa State away from knocking on the door. It is 2 of 16 shooting threes.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Verizon. Holiday savings on the gifts everyone wants. And in part by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase. And new Old Spice Refresh Body Sprays. Spray goodbye to boyhood. Smelcome to manhood.
Well, I went out to midcourt, knew the odds were against me. One shot, 75K. I didn't hit the shot once in practice, but I took my two-step dance and let it fly. There it is again. Drink it in, Miami. Next thing I know, I'm being bear hugged by LeBron. I can only make it when there's 20,000 people watching. That's one of the things you grow up dreaming about as a kid. when I was on Sports Center.
I'll have a chocolate cherry grape Coke, please.
A what? Breakfast time.
I like getting my taste buds up and running.
Large fountain drinks are just 99 cents before 10 a.m. every day. This is how you Sonic.
The coach here in studio. Upset alert in Boston, BC. Ryan Anderson inside, working hard. And one. The Qs looking for their third 17-0 start in the last 4 seasons. Lonnie Jackson for 3 right now. BC up by 4. This game over on the U. Brent, back to you.
All right, and here it is 46-39. And that's the third turnover, only the third turnover on the Cyclones, which we just had. Well, you were checking in on the update there with Syracuse. Of course, that would be a huge story if they should fall. So the gang will keep you up to date on that. And now we've got a foul, and it's going to go against Iowa State. And that foul is on Dustin Hogue. That's 2 fouls on Hogue here tonight. He's the only Cyclone with 2.
Fred Hoiberg not happy with some of the contact. And they just showed it on the board, and the fans aren't either. I wouldn't do that, man. I wouldn't show the highlight on the board.
Wiggins into the corner with the pass, and it is knocked down by Selden, and the crowd still cranky about that call. Tell you why I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
If you don't show those replays, a lot of the fans say, why should I go to the game? I can stay home and see it much better.
Well, that's a good point.
It helps your attendance, in my opinion.
I got you. Makes it tougher for the officials when they miss one and 13,000 people react.
And so what have the officials asked him, Holly?
Well, you know, earlier in the game, while Joel Embiid had that flagrant foul or that technical foul, Joe De La Rosa actually went to the people and said, hey, don't show this play on the video board. He didn't want to incite the crowd, get them too riled up. Trying to keep it calm, show the crowd what plays they can, but not incite them.
I'm not sure that's going to work in here if Iowa State makes a comeback.
Trying to get the board, and they do. Trailing it by 9 here, looking for something to go, and getting the free throw line is Hogue.
You know what I like about this, Brent? They're not knocking down 3-point shots, but they've been very good in transition tonight. Right now, Fred Hoiberg pleading his case with Gary Maxwell.
Hogue with 9 points here tonight. Well, the journey to the tourney, of course, season-long spotlight on games that are going to impact the tournament. Let's go to the Big Ten on Saturday. Michigan will travel to take in Wisconsin, and that's in Madison, of course. Michigan and Wisconsin should be a good basketball.
Nick Stauskas, another one of those Toronto area guys having a great effect on the Big Ten. You don't have to guard Trailer outside, so you can double team in the lane with Niang.
Wiggins spins and stripped.
And that's what happened, Brent. Niang just played center field in the paint.
Another turnover by the Jayhawks. Tried to get in to edge him and knocked out of bounds by the freshman. That's 15 turnovers here in this game for the Jayhawks.
Gotta stay alert if you're Kansas, because Iowa State does a great job on inbounds plays.
But the one thing the Cyclones need more than perhaps this would be the 3-point shot. They need to start knocking them down. And they are just 2 of 17 for this game.
And this is how they play, so they can go on a roll. They make 9 a game. But
Ellis puts it down. And 1. That's only his second field goal. He's 2 of 8, and he's on the free throw line.
And the rule this year is beginning of upward motion. If the foul occurs as the player begins his upward motion to the basket, doesn't matter when he leaves the floor. And they're counting it like the continuation play, Brent, in the NBA this year.
Hogue with his third foul. Tap back. Kansas has got it.
I think Wiggins got that tip out.
Beautiful pass and flushed by Ellis. That was Selden who whipped it to his veteran teammate. And now it is back to 11. That matches the Jayhawk high for the night.
Watch Andrew Wiggins and his great athletic ability here. He's just going to leave his feet, tip it out to midcourt, create the extra possession. You've been talking about second chance points all night, Brent, and Kansas has dominated.
52-41, friend, as a result of that. And just from a talent point of view, just thinking about that, you take the names off the jerseys, we're not talking about them. There's a huge Jayhawk advantage in talent in this game. I'm not talking about, you know, I don't want to put down the Iowa State kids in the hustle and the way Hoiberg coaches them, but if you're an NBA scout here tonight, you've got about 4 or 5 guys over there on the Jayhawks that you're saying, let's keep an eye on this guy.
Well, remember last year, they lost 5 starters. The only guy playing, well, actually Withey and McLemore in the NBA now, but that was an overachieving Kansas team. This is a young team with, you know, arguably one of the 2 best recruiting classes in the country this year. You're seeing Embiid, Wiggins, and Selden all having an impact.
Here comes Kane, who's been quiet until that spin move in for the layup. Remember, he led Iowa State in the first half. You wonder with a sprained ankle, did it during the intermission. Tighten up, Tharp comes right back and it wouldn't rattle down. And now Edgham's got it, and the Cyclones can put together field goals.
And remember, Brent, they've done a good job all year of coming back in games.
Morris couldn't get it to fall. Edgham's in underneath. And there was a whistle. Oh, there it is, Fran. Just what you've been talking about here tonight. Down by 7, they've won 8 games. And a lot of that is just determination, guts, call it whatever you want. Good coaching, obviously, over there on the other side. A bunch of youngsters who believe in themselves and work together.
But 2 of those games were not in this building. They trailed BYU by 12, and I mentioned they were down to Northern Iowa 18 down at Wells Fargo in Des Moines.
There's a dozen for Hogue here tonight. Niang will take a break. He'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Well, you think of the guys that Hoiberg lost from a year ago, Babb and Clyburn, Lucius, remember Tyrus McGee with that outside shooting?
Lost that outside shooting. Yep. McGee would come off that bench as he did against Kansas in that great game here. 52-45 now. Selden, deep 3. Out of bounds.
Wow, he's close to getting a technical.
Yes, he is with that move. Trailer.
Good judicious piece of officiating by Gary Maxwell.
And you can see a little bit of foul trouble now starting to mount, and that could be critical now with Iowa State. I mean, with all those comebacks that you talked about and you showed, Frank, these kids believe that they can do it. And that's one thing about the mentality of athletes. If you've done it several times before, you say, come on, we can do this thing again.
Well, they believe, and they also have the type of players that can attack the basket and keep you in foul trouble.
Wiggins is 3. Didn't fall.
That's what we're talking about.
Rattles out.
Boy, Matt Thomas needs just one to go down.
Great steal. Morris penetrating, gets it over, and the field goal is good. Kane and Morris.
You get the feeling, Brent, that Kansas has dominated this game, and Iowa State just keeps hanging around.
Not going away. Looking for a little bit more of that Hilton magic, baby.
since 1971, the centerpiece for Iowa State basketball. When record-breaking crowds gather, there's always a little Hilton magic in the air. Loud, intimidating, Cyclone Alley.
Tonight's game, part of My Home Court, week-long celebration of the great college basketball arenas and venues around the country. And this one in Ames, Iowa, when they're rolling, certainly ranks as one of them.
You know what I love about this place? They get louder when the Cyclones are behind. They pick you up. This isn't Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are playing poorly.
Get it down in low, and finishing is Embiid.
You can see where Bill Self wants his bread butter tonight because they've gone inside from the opening tip.
Yeah, with this great size advantage. Edge him off the drive. Putback is good. One of those rare offensive rebound putbacks for Iowa State. Both guards now on the floor for Coach Self.
It's like a little zone here.
Embiid is doubled on the catch, tripled, knocks it back outside. Selden is stripped, and it goes over to the Cyclones. And we're going to take a break at that 11-minute mark, the media timeout. And again, the Cyclones hanging in the neighborhood. It's 54-49, and the Winter Olympics are coming to a television screen close to you. Well, it's time for Did You See That? Brought to you by Verizon.
Well, it's been a pretty good night for Andrew Wiggins, the freshman from Vaughan, Ontario, knocking down some shots. He's already got 15 rebounds. This is where he excels, out in the open court in transition. But I just love his energy tonight, Brent. And a couple of assists as well. And this was a big play. Very quietly tips the ball out. And that gave Kansas an extra possession, which they scored on.
So Kansas has been up by 11 points. Iowa State led only once. That was by 1 point. And 15 rebounds for the very talented freshman. And Kansas has dominated on the glass. They lead it by 5. They've out-rebounded Iowa State 39-26. But they've turned it over for 20 points. Cyclones have, what happened to Tharp here? A foul's going to be called.
Wow. Niang, after he lost the ball, he just popped the dear Tharp. You know what's interesting about Niang? He struggled with Embiid tonight. But you remember his high school teammate was Nerlens Noel. Right. He learned how to play against bigger guys in high school. He struggled with the young freshman tonight. That's Niang again.
That's 3 on him as he picks up 2 quick ones here.
Good scouting report right here. Every Cyclone yelling out lob.
Embiid down low. Whips it cross court, and the putback is good. That was a very, very well done play there with Mason finishing.
You know what I love about that, Brent? Embiid is getting better and better at handling double teams, even the course of tonight, through the course of tonight's game. That was textbook.
Kane's backing in, and a foul was called. And I believe that's on Mason.
Watch this, Brent. Watch how patient Embiid is. This is a 7-foot freshman. He's just going to wait. Now take the dribble off the lane. Very smooth. Remember, he struggled early in the game with that double team.
Man, that was a rocket pass he threw over there, too. Saw the open man. Kane was 16 points, 3 of 7, make it 4 of 8. Embiid first, away from the basket, puts it on the deck against Niang, scores. That's one way when you're getting muscled, huh?
How about the way he shed the double team that time, waited for the double team to go away.
Interior pass, and Embiid not called for a foul, did the block on Hogue that time. The crowd wanted to whistle.
He wasn't blocking many shots early in the year.
Look at him underneath.
Oh, my goodness.
Going to work with his footwork, and he's taken over here, the 7-footer.
He moves, Brent, like a 6'6" player. I coached him this summer at the Adidas Nations Camp, and you have to realize how tall he is when you see how athletic he is.
Stripped, and here they come again. Here's Wiggins now on an open floor. Coming through and flushing in from underneath his trailer. Jayhawks are in control now, up again by 11 at 8:54.
Well, you're watching the development of a young man that about 18 months ago wasn't even starting for his high school team at Montverde in Florida. He transferred schools. Norm Roberts, the assistant coach at Kansas, found him, and you see the athleticism. And then this is outstanding footwork, Brent. Watch this. This is graceful right here. You know, when Bill Self, Norm Roberts got the private jet, Kansas's private jet, to fly to see him because he wanted Bill Self to see him during the summer between his junior and senior year. Bill Self did not say a word for 2 hours. Norm Roberts was worried. He didn't like him. When they came out of the gym, he said, "Coach, what do you think?" He goes, "What do I think? We got to get this guy."
Oh, absolutely. What an upside this youngster has. You know, they talk about Wiggins, and he was the cover boy. But there are going to be some scouts walking out of here tonight. We'll be talking about Embiid.
There's no question.
I mean, at that size, you're going to play in the NBA. You can play a long time. He's going to fill out a little bit. Look at him down there and low. He influenced that shot, the whole action down underneath.
And Niang doesn't miss this many baskets around the hoop. And even though he'll not get credited for a block, Embiid spooked him that time.
Got away from Wiggins. Goes to save it and turns it over. You know, we talked about Embiid and Wiggins a lot tonight. Remember the freshman of last week at the conference was Selvin.
I know it. I know it. You remember Al McGuire once said the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores? Not at Kansas.
No. No. Bounce pass in low. Morris with the field goal for the Cyclones.
Remember, they can shoot the three, Iowa State. They haven't made them tonight, but they can.
Traylor picks it up. Drives in. And Embiid, and there's a foul. Score it. What a show he has put on here in the second half. Gracefully.
And I think he was frustrated early. Watch the hustle right here. He stays with it. And you see the emotion. He's had a tough few days. He was ejected from the game on Saturday, deservedly so, for a flagrant 2. Not necessarily thinking that's his personality, but foul trouble earlier. But he's opened his game up.
Kane yanks it down for the Cyclones. And pushing. So one of the talented freshmen for the Kansas Jayhawks taken over here in the second half in Ames.
The coach here with a studio update. Before, Carmelo Anthony was a star in the NBA and a great scorer. He played here at Syracuse. Number 2 tonight on the road, BC. Oh, Jeremy Grant and 1. And then Jeremy Grant again. After they woke up, starting to pull away on the U right now. A minute to go. The Cuse up by 7, still undefeated. Boys, back to you.
And the Jayhawks here are up by 11, 64-53. Interesting, friend. The Jayhawks, who shot 45% of the first half, are now up to 51.9%. They have shot 50% or better in 5 of their last 6 games, and they're doing it here again. And Joel Embiid, 7 of 8 on the floor here tonight.
Which is a reason why he comes in shooting 66%. So he'll leave here tonight right around 70.
And Holly, how did Coach Self get the team ready for the noise in here, these freshmen?
Well, yeah, because so many of these freshmen didn't know what to expect. They'd heard about this very difficult environment to play in, and so Coach Self and the older players, Perry Ellis, Nadir Tharp, warned these young freshmen about the controversial ending of last year's game. And they said the most important thing you've got to keep in mind tonight is that Iowa State is a team that will go on runs. They shoot the three, they claw back into ball games, weather the runs, and we can win the game. And guys, they have done that tonight. Every time Iowa State's gotten close, Kansas has shut the door.
Indeed. And the Cyclones, meanwhile, have really struggled with the three-point shot. Friend, they're 2 of 18. 2 of 18 shooting the 3-ball tonight. In general, they're pretty reliable.
Absolutely. They're lucky they're only down 10. It's a manageable comeback, although if they don't make some threes, Holly's right. Kansas has a chance to shut the door.
Embiid doubled, spins right around.
Oh my goodness.
And he's on the free throw line.
He's getting a lot of power touches tonight. Yeah.
There's not a lot of 7-footers who can make that first graceful move like that, folks.
I was anxious to, you've been worrying about Auburn and Florida State and the Rose Bowl. I was anxious to see what you thought of this guy. I was kind of excited.
He's something now, I want to tell you. Because the old cliche, you can't coach 7 feet. And but what I'm impressed by is he's got an idea, and he's a youngster, obviously athletically. He must have played a lot of soccer and volleyball, and he could do things with great grace. I think you mentioned Olajuwon, who was a great soccer player when he was growing up in Nigeria.
Well, the interesting thing about Joel Embiid, and I think anybody who saw them practice in October is amazed by how much he's improved in only 3 months.
That's a great job of coaching by the Jayhawks staff. They've done an outstanding job with him. Niang influenced again by the size down low. I mean, Embiid has 5 blocks, and he's influenced another half dozen 8 shots.
And what's so interesting about that, Brent, is he was more of an offensive player earlier in the year. The comparisons to Olajuwon are not fair at all. But Olajuwon was, I think, way ahead in terms of being a defensive player. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. No question. Ellis trying to bull his way in, and it's an offensive foul call.
Perry Ellis loves to operate 15 feet and in. That time they tried to ISO him on the wing. He just ran over his defender.
That's 3 on him. Terry Black playing with 4 personals, checks back in. Terry Black looks to me like a tight end.
Yes, he's a big, strong guy. Started a lot of games at Memphis. He actually started early in the year as Embiid was kind of getting his feet wet, but he kept getting in foul trouble, which means he would be a good tight end.
Absolutely. I was just thinking the same thing. Edge him off the drive. Battling for the loose ball underneath. And it just won't fall.
I'll tell you what, I love Dustin Hogue's energy.
Yeah, that was great.
Yes, it was.
They just haven't been able to finish. They haven't hit the threes, and some of the opportunities with that great size that the Jayhawks have, they're rushing things underneath them.
I agree, and they shoot almost 60% inside the arc, which has been limited tonight by the Kansas length.
So Black fouls out. And we mentioned for you again that good Big Ten game at 7. Number 3, Wisconsin taking on Indiana. Then at 9, Kentucky heads to Fayetteville to face Arkansas. Friend, how good's the Kentucky team? Speaking of freshmen, how are they going to mature?
Very similar to this team in terms of the more you put them in adversity type situations, the better they're going to get. Coach Cal had Camp Cal for a couple weeks during the break.
Right.
2-a-days, bonding. That team certainly has a lot of talent, Brent. At times they were not cohesive early in the year. They need to start playing as a unit and not look at the stats and the numbers and the NBA draft blogs. But a lot of talent. And John Calipari can get those guys going.
66-56. Still time left. Coming alive here in Ames. Trying to urge the team for one more charge. And Ellis, who's been relatively quiet offensively tonight. That was a smooth shot. He made that all-tournament team in Kansas City last year.
Yes,
Great tournament.
Yep, we watched him improve all last season.
Absolutely. Took it back. Edging. Can he knock the 3 down? Yes. And that brings a roar. 3 of 19 now.
Now, if you're Fred Hoiberg, you need some stops. 2 stops, 2 scores is usually the mantra.
Got the stop. Now, can they get that score? They've done a good job, Kansas has, defensively on Kane here in the second half. Edgem did not get the foul. On the drive. And look who ran the floor right behind him to get the offensive rebound. And a timeout has been called. Crowd is not happy by the action defensively of Embiid.
Let's see this, because officials do not like to reward the shooter who jumps into the defender. So let's see if the defender was legal and vertical. I think you can call that as a foul.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, he moved forward, and
Edgem did a great job. Yep. He said, "I've got you.
Yes.
I've got you off the floor, and now I'm going to get the foul."
That's exactly
that's
right.
what you're taught to do. But before we get away from what he has done well,
there's no question. You know, he sat because of an elbow. They called it a flagrant 1. Bill Self unhappy with him, but what a difference he's made in the second half. Look how they seal up the lane, and a good ball reversal here. Anytime you throw it to a post player, you got to lead him to the rim, and that's a great job by the fellow freshman Wayne Selden. And then this was terrific textbook passing out of a double team, creating the opportunity for Frank Mason to score.
you know, watching him, friend, for a 7-footer, he's very flexible. You know, you don't see 7-footers whose body reacts like his, you know, I guess shades of playing volleyball and things. I mean,
yeah, and Brent, when you don't notice how tall he is, he plays like he's 6'5".
Exactly. Now there's the record, and putting up 16 here tonight. 7 rebounds, 5 blocks, and he's influenced so many other plays down low.
And he was very influential in Andrew Wiggins choosing Kansas. Andrew Wiggins reclassified from its junior year to a senior year, so he didn't get heavily recruited until the end of the year. They played together, and they really like each other. They're both soft-spoken kids.
Tharp off the dribble, gives it back to Ellis. Selden loads Embiid, and there's that pass again to the corner. And they find the open man is Selden, and the tap back in. Didn't seal off the glass. And the Jayhawks make them pay with Wiggins.
Remember we talked about it in the first half? Kansas dominated the weak side offensive boards.
And a foul going to go against the Jayhawks on this play.
Kane fell down. I think he hurt his ankle again.
Yeah,
you know,
there's no question.
But I thought he just fell down, to be honest with you. Watch Wiggins. He's allowed to move. See, he's legally guarding. That's just a
Did he step on something with that left ankle? He seems to me he was in pain before he hit the floor. Yeah, he was in pain, I think, before he went down.
Well,
hopefully he's going to be okay. I don't know if it was the ankle.
It might have been the ankle, might have been his feelings.
Yeah.
Could have been a little bit of both. Now he's holding his wrist too, so
Yeah,
he's a one-man mash unit.
trying to get it back to within single digits here. Wears the number 50 in honor of his late father, who tragically passed away at the age of 50. Was extremely close to the young man.
And I think if he makes this free throw, Niang is probably going to substitute for the shooter.
Yeah, Niang is up over there, friend. I think you're exactly right. But he did not make it. So he will limp back down the floor.
And Fred Hoiberg says he's got an injured player and he's trying to get Kane out.
There's Ellis spinning in. Remember, he's got that great left hand. Didn't finish this time. Loose ball. Picked up on the move. And that was Edgem. Tried to get it in low. Edgem kept it. Spins and a foul and one. Big play by Edgem.
Trying to ignite a little Hilton magic right here. Melvin Edgem.
So Kane will take a seat. Now watch the knee to the thigh. Right there.
There it is.
No question. And that's the fourth foul on Ellis. Edgem comes to the free throw line, and Cyclones trying to gather themselves here for one final charge at home. They pulled back now to within 7. They've got 4:23. You know this crowd's going to urge them on.
That's an offensive foul. That's a good call. Yep. Embiid, who's been so effective in the lane tonight, he took the left arm, and that it was nothing. There was no flop on that one. Take a look now. He's done a really good job of posting, but look at him push off and extend.
And that's number 4, Fran.
Yes.
So Self at the 4-minute mark, leaving Embiid on the floor right now with the 4 fouls. Edgem steps out 3. No. That would have brought the house down. That one.
It's like a team in football just passing on every down right now, relying on those threes.
Now Wiggins.
You might as well play through the big guy again.
They do, and they double Embiid and force him off the block, and he kicks it back out. Here's Tharp. And a foul goes against Iowa State. So we'll take this break at the 3:35 mark. The Jayhawks lead the Cyclones by 7.
Since 1971, the centerpiece for Iowa State basketball. When record-breaking crowds gather, there's always a little Hilton magic in the air. Loud, intimidating, Cyclone Alley.
My home court. We'll be at another one next week. You betcha. Down in Lawrence, Allen Fieldhouse. Another great setting for college basketball. We'll follow the Jayhawks next Monday here on ESPN. So Tharp has had a career high. We've sort of overlooked him. He's one off of it. Had a career high of 20, and if he makes his free throw, he'll equal it here tonight.
Well, he's been terrific the last 2 games. He had Saturday he had 9 assists and no turnovers. I'm not sure, Brent. I think he had 4 points or 6. And it doesn't matter with him. Tonight he's scoring, but his floor leadership is what Bill Self needs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
No,
Points will come and go.
But this for a new career high for the young man. If he makes it, it's 21 on the night for Tharp. Big night for him here in Ames, Iowa.
And he's giving it to his former teammate, Melvin Edgem.
And Iowa State, 3 of 20 shooting the threes. Down by 9. And they're still missing. They're now 3 of 21.
I think it's in their head now, Brent. Because every time that ball goes up, the crowd moans on the miss.
just couldn't get the long ball to fall tonight. Embiid is stripped that time. Good strip by Edgem. Still on the floor. Edgem coming through. And it'll be Iowa State basketball.
Now Gary, let's see. Joe DeRosa is going to come in here and see if Gary Maxwell needs help on whether the ball went off of Edgem. And that's what they did.
Give it over to the Jayhawks. And I think Joe was right about
Well,
this.
it was a bad break for Iowa State, but Joe DeRosa had the better angle on this play. We see it one more time?
Yeah, it did.
I thought it did.
Yes, no question.
And Gary Maxwell was on the other side of the court. He was blocked out, and that's good teamwork right there by the two officials.
Absolutely. Got the call right.
Joe's done a couple big games, Brent, in his career.
Yes, he has. Loves being around the college game after all those years, the grind of the NBA. Just loves basketball. Tharp misfiring and rebound for the Cyclones. They've got 2:30 to go and got to get something going. Embiid holding fourth underneath, and was that Tharp who was called on that?
Yes, it was.
He had the defense that time on Morris. Boy, look at Oklahoma, they were 6 of 26. Now tonight, 3 of 21. So they're really struggling from outside the arc. If they can keep the clock stopped and score here on the free throw line, they give themselves a little bit of an opportunity, but they can't even knock down free throws.
Exactly. Yep. And I do think it's cumulative. You start missing all those threes, even though that's been their game. Think about it. They've averaged 9 threes a game since the day Fred Hoiberg arrived here. Who wasn't a bad shooter, by the way, himself. Last year in the NBA, he led the league, shooting almost 50%.
Embiid back to help out. 2:20.
This is a time and score situation now for Kansas. On the road, just milk it.
Embiid kicks it back outside. Wiggins, they spread the floor. They start knocking time down, try to get it inside of 2 minutes. Got an 8-point lead right now. Now Wiggins off the dribble will kick it back to Tharp. Tharp works the baseline, and they did kill the time, and a timeout is going to be called by Iowa State. Even though they didn't get any points, they brought that clock down to 150, so that was not a completely unsuccessful trip, even though they didn't score.
Agreed.
Speaking of the NBA, we got a doubleheader coming your way Wednesday night, 8 Eastern. The Jazz taking on the Spurs. Then at 10:30, the Nuggets will square off against the Warriors. NBA Wednesday, presented by State Farm on ESPN.
And Trey Burke's starting to get some minutes.
Yes, he is.
He's playing pretty well.
Of course, right after us, SportsCenter will be coming up. Syracuse surviving a scare against BC. Duke was tested, kind of a crazy ending to that game. If you haven't seen it, you want to see the highlights there. And the NFL coaching carousel continues to spin, so they will update you on all of those stories that are developing in the league. And of course, we've got the conference championships coming up this week. We've got New England headed into Denver. Great quarterback matchup there with Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. And you go out west, the two teams don't like each other, especially the coaches.
Yeah, they got
what's your deal? I remember Pete Carroll, USC, coming out.
The handshake's always the exciting part of that game.
Oh, yeah. And here's Royce White. He's in attendance here, former star.
Absolutely. He got it started for Fred Hoiberg, and you know, he hasn't gotten on track yet NBA-wise, but they still love him around here.
Needs a bigger watch.
Yeah. He was real. Yeah, he was the guy. You know, talk about transfer you and Chris Babb and Will Clyburn, but it was Royce White transferring from Minnesota, which really transformed this program.
Well, the Cyclones with a 1:40 to go here. Thomas will gun the three, and the freshman knocks it down. 72-67, it's 5, and they've got a fighter's chance.
He needed that. I think you go one more possession before you need to start fouling. Get a stop and get it back at a minute.
Now, who's going to take the shot here for the Jayhawks?
And they're going to go pick and roll, I think, with Tharp at some point. Watch a flare screen here, Brent.
Here's Wiggins. Wiggins on the drive. Turned it over. 1:10 to go now. Here come the Cyclones, down 5 now. You don't necessarily have to have a 3. They load Edgem low. Edgem spins, comes back, kicks now. And Kane off a pump fake against a 7-footer, puts it on the deck and missed on the drive. Looking for the foul, not going to get it inside of a minute.
Embiid dared Kane to shoot the 3, and he hesitated because he's 7 feet tall.
Exactly. Take a look at this because he's outside and he sees a 7-footer on him.
Yep.
And they were coming.
And to your point about moving his feet well, he did a good job there.
Outstanding. Now, just as you pointed out, Cyclones had to foul right now, so Tharp will come up to the free throw line. 21 points tonight. 4 of 5. The Jayhawks, the only unbeaten team in the Big 12 Conference. So even though they lost those 4 non-conference games, they are 2-0 in the conference and closing in on 3-0. 73-67. Sort of interesting that Iowa State was the slightest of favorites because of this magic that they weave here on the home court.
You know the other interesting thing? Do you think Kansas looks like the 15th best team in the country tonight?
No way, sir.
Yeah.
They look like definitely. Listen, I haven't seen that many teams in person, but they certainly are a top 10 team.
Well, if they played an easier schedule, they'd be a top 10 team.
And Kane is fouled. Well, that would have been something if he'd have knocked it down.
Yep. And that's, once again, they've gotten
He was looking for the big fellow to do that on the last trip.
That's a nice second half performance for the young man from Cameroon.
Yeah, before he finally fouls out of the game. But he was a big factor in this game.
And you know who helped bring him to the United States? Luke Rashad and Mbamute, the former UCLA star.
Really?
Fellow Cameroonian, who found him at a camp and got him over here to high school, and the rest is history. We're going to be talking about him a lot this season.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm not so sure that they won't be talking about him as a possible #1 choice in the draft.
No,
I mean,
I think you're right.
7-footer who can do things like this has got to impress these scouts. Really.
There's some guys, certainly, you know, Wiggins and Julius Randle and Jabari Parker are all playing well. And yet you look at this young man, you know how they value the big man in the NBA, Brent. They'll get serious consideration.
Well, I came here, you know, looking to be impressed by Wiggins because of everything I'd seen. And I've watched you guys do some games on TV. But I come away marveling at the agility and the athletic ability of Embiid and how these coaches have brought him along.
Well, absolutely. And as I said earlier, the fact that Joel Embiid came to Kansas was a reason that Andrew Wiggins ultimately chose Kansas. They played together on the Nike Hoop Summit World Team last April before Wiggins made up his mind, and he just liked his style.
Kane a little short on the free throws, and foul on the rebounding effort over there by Perry Ellis.
Well, DeAndre Kane is hanging his head, but one of the things you got to do in this league this year is have amnesia. This is a tough league this year, but we haven't talked about the depth of this league tonight. We will all year. But this team is 14-2 now. They need to regroup and move on. You have to start a 1-game winning streak, whether you win or lose today.
Do we have Baylor at Lawrence next Monday?
We do.
So I get to see Ike Austin.
Yes,
against
you will.
Embiid. I get to see a couple 7-footers. That's going to be kind of interesting because their styles are not similar. Austin, good outside shooter, will take Embiid outside on him.
Well, you know, and interestingly, Austin this year is starting to play a little bit more around the basket, blocking some shots like Embiid is doing.
Yeah, you know, think about Oklahoma State. Oklahoma's improving. Texas getting a little bit better in the league. I mean, Kansas State had a tough loss, but they had played pretty well. We'll have a game in Manhattan. Thomas on the drive. Tharp goes for it. Here come the Jayhawks. And, speaking of Wiggins is, you know, he does a lot of things you don't notice him because he's so smooth. I mean, I do see that with number 22.
Well, he's a terrific young man. He comes from a great family. His father Mitchell played in the NBA. Got his life together. Has been a great role model for the three
mother,
boys.
a great athlete too.
Marita
She had a
Payne,
couple of
Wiggins,
Olympics.
yeah. Hey, when you have a park named after you in your hometown, like she does, she won a silver medal in '84.
I believe she went to Florida State. Now,
She did. She won a lot of NCAA titles. You're exactly right.
Well, Edgem fouls out with 15 points here tonight on his effort. So when you take a look at the schedule, they've got to go down to Austin. And it's not going to be a piece of cake. And you got Kansas State coming in here. Then you've got to go down to Lawrence. You got no. Wow, you are exactly right.
Yeah, this league is deeper than anybody thought, Brent. And you know what's interesting about the league? On April 1st, nobody thought the league would be as good as it is. But guess what happened? Marcus Smart stayed. Wiggins decided to come. DeAndre Kane went to Iowa State. Tarek Black decided to pick Kansas when he transferred.
And there's the commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, here tonight watching this game. Wiggins having a 17-point game, I believe it is. 18 rebounds, career night with the.
That's the rebound. Quietest 17 and 18. You'll ever see.
You get a double-double, and we walk away raving about a 7-footer.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, he's played great defense tonight, which he's really.
You told me he knew how to play defense.
Yeah,
too.
he's starting to hang his hat on that. There's a good example right there.
Yeah, he did. He shut him down and got Kane. His fires offensive putback though is good. Yank. And final 13 seconds. 5-point game. And again, Iowa State continues to battle here. Thomas fouling, and that'll send the Jayhawks back up to the free throw line. Let's take a look at the Jayhawks schedule and what's coming up for Coach Self. Got to listen. Look at that.
How about
look at that two-pack coming up.
How about
You
that?
got Oklahoma State and Baylor coming in. That's pretty good. You go down to TCU. TCU still trying to figure it out. Got the rematch with Iowa State down there. And very few off nights in this conference.
Coming into tonight, Brent, 8 of the 10 teams won 73% or more of their games so far this season.
Pretty good. So I guess you would say that if you had the RPI or the power ratings, that Big 12 and the Big 10 would be the two,
yes,
right?
I think so, absolutely. Yep. And Big 10's got 3 outstanding teams at the top. A lot of depth in this league. Pac-12's a little bit better this year, certainly, with Arizona playing so well. Yeah. Sean Miller's done a great job there.
And they've recruited some good players.
Yes,
coming
they
in,
have.
too.
Bowl Sunday night.
We will find a high def set.
Yes, we will.
It's final 10 seconds here. The Jayhawks, who have dominated Iowa State ever since Coach Hoiberg went to the NBA, I might add. That was the last great run that the Cyclones had. And Kansas going to win another one here tonight. 6.8 seconds. And they will stay unbeaten in the Big 12. The Jayhawks will move to 3-0, and that's 8 straight years that they have been 3-0 in the conference. So if you're going to take them down, somebody needs to get to them early. And not going to happen here tonight. That'll do it. A 7-point Jayhawk win. $77-70. Talented freshmen of the Jayhawks get it done. Coming up next, SportsCenter. So long from Ames, Iowa.